to the big picture. It is almost 9 a.m. on your Monday morning, and it is a lovely start to the week. A little humid outside, but that never hurt anyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bryn Caswell.
And I'm Collin Dorsey. It's great to have you here on this Monday. We got a lot to talk about, but especially that weather impact alert day. We've got 4 of them coming up in a row beginning tomorrow. We are talking, heat indexes, triple digits. It's going to be very uncomfortable for the time being.
So Justin Gert's coming on later in the show to talk all about that. So let's get to our headlines for today. Horrible story this weekend out of Italian Village. A woman was beaten to death by a baseball bat in a domestic violence situation. And our Catherine Simon, she spoke with the victim's sister, and it's just such an upsetting story, and we'll get into the latest details about that and the resources available to help you if you or a loved one is in a similar situation.
Yeah, and then coming up at 9:20, we are talking with a couple of the folks behind the parade of, how would you put it? Of lunacy, satire. It's a wonderful parade that kind of capstones the 4th of July holiday in Columbus. So the Doodah Parade's coming up at 9:20. Then later, Rochelle Aline joins us with a 10 Investigates report talking about child care accountability and the gaps that one set of parents says exist in state law. And then obviously we have that 10 weather impact alert coming up.
Investigation she did, so.
But so let's start off there. Yes. Let's get to that DV situation. That happened over the weekend, I believe Friday into Saturday, there in Italian Village.
Right. Our producer, Zenobia, said she was walking by the scene with Carla, and at the time they had no idea what the situation was, but they were like, why are these cop cars here? Is it because of construction? And then they got the push alert from us about what had happened. Yeah. And our Catherine Simon was covering this weekend, and she managed to speak to the victim's sister. And the victim's sister was very raw about what her sister was dealing with and how she, kept encouraging her sister to leave the situation she was in. But it was really hard for her. So take a listen to the story.
This is my mother, and this is us. And our mother passed away in 2018. So I'll always remember.
On Heather Creech's arm is the tattoo she shared with her sister.
My sister was a lovely person.
Heather's sister, Tiffany, died Saturday morning in what police believe to be a domestic violence incident.
Were you guys very close?
Until she got with him.
41-year-old Michael Johnson is accused of hitting Tiffany Creech with a baseball bat, killing her. Court documents say at 12:30 Saturday morning, Columbus police got a call where Johnson said Creech was bleeding and he didn't know if she was breathing. When officers arrived, police say they arrested Johnson and found Creech injured. Police say they also found a juvenile who was injured by Johnson.
She told me that they were back together and that he's doing this, he's done that. And I'm like, Tiff, you just need to get out. And she says, I love him. I was like, I don't care. You need to get out before he does something else. And now look.
Police say there was a history of domestic violence in the relationship. In addition to the murder charge, Johnson also faces other charges stemming from an incident nearly 4 years ago. Court records reveal in September 2022, Johnson sent threatening text messages to Creech. And in June of that year, court records show Johnson was arrested after a domestic violence incident involving Creech. Through the pain of losing a loved one, her family hopes her story can help others in similar situations.
If you see something, say something. If you're going through something, there is help. There is. You just got to get out and say something.
So that was Catherine Simon reporting there. And we've talked time and time again about how we've seen this rise in domestic violence incidents here in the state of Ohio. According to the Ohio Domestic Violence Network, just last year, or in that July to June 24 to 25, there were 157 cases. It was a big spike from the year before. So 157 fatalities spread across 108 cases. So we lost 157 people to domestic violence in that time. 33 of those fatalities were right here in Franklin County. We were by far the county that led that. Cuyahoga County only had 20 and Hamilton County had 11. So, those two combined.
It's an issue that's really just growing.
It is.
We don't have the numbers fully from this year yet, and the way the track records looked so far this year, it's kind of on track to
We've had
increase.
we've had a lot
Yeah.
happen this time.
Think about the Teppies. I mean, the end of the year.
Right. So, we've got kind of a breakdown here from the Domestic Violence Network. So 84% of these 157 deaths were the result of gun violence. 144 people were shot. In 108 cases, only 12 of them survived. 3 teen girls were killed by their boyfriends. 16% of the perpetrators of this had a history of stalking and other behaviors that led up into these domestic violence fatalities. So there is,
Help
unfortunately, some stuff going on, the background, we've seen these numbers increase, but there is help available. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence and need help, there is help 24/7 available. All you need to do is call the free and confidential National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233. It is available once again around the clock anytime you need them.
All right, let's get to the other big story.
Yeah.
Dublin redistricting. We're talking about it yet again. The meeting happening tonight is to announce where everyone's going, correct? Or am I wrong on that?
We could potentially see some
have
maps.
an answer.
Yes,
Yeah.
this was, I believe, the soonest we would see maps from Dublin.
Okay, this is the map meeting. Because I remember they broke it all down, but the final decision isn't until the fall?
So we're deciding on the 27-28 school year.
Yes.
There's still some time, but this this is where we should get at least the idea of what they're doing.
Right. And obviously we know this has been stressing parents out in that area. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on it. Obviously, people buy homes in certain neighborhoods so their child can then go to a certain school, and all of that's going to change. And a lot of this is impacting middle school, elementary school students right now.
So that is where things, I think, got more involved, is because
from parents.
No, yes and no. So when Dr. Marshausen was on in that interview, kind of slipped in a little nugget in there that all of a sudden we're redistricting middle schools because when this started back last year, when this whole discussion started, it was just for the high schools because we know that, let's see, Scioto's got that brand new addition to it. And we need to pull kids out of, it's Jerome is the one that's so full. So we've got to reposition everybody in order to keep up with Dublin's growth. But the questions kind of arose of, well, then we have to figure out what schools now pour into these high schools again. And then it certainly turned into, okay, we now have to redistrict the middle schools. And then if we redistrict the middle schools, then we have to take a look at the elementary schools. So at this point, we're taking a look at all of these banding maps or, these maps. And then we're going to look at restaggering, what grade levels are in what buildings. There's a lot of shakeup that's going to happen in Dublin over time. And Dublin's not the first district to go through this. Olentangy did it a number of years ago because they had to figure out who's going to Orange and Berlin and all these other schools because these are communities that are growing because the problem that Dublin has ran into is that where it's growing is that side that's out kind of the Union County, Madison County way where they all go to Jerome. And they don't have the space. They're trying to even it across the board to 2,000 kids per school.
That's what they said.
For
sure. And so again, parents mixed feelings about a lot of this. We've spoken to a lot over the last couple of months since this has been a discussion.
And some of them are like, yeah, we get why it's there. But the other ones are very unhappy. As you mentioned, some people moved specifically into a neighborhood to get their kids into a very specific school. That all being said, there is not a bad school in Dublin. It does not exist.
Well, I think some parents would argue otherwise. That's why they're mad,
Right.
So take a listen to some of the parents that we spoke to earlier.
Personally, I wasn't surprised because it feels like it'd be difficult to redistrict the high school and not touch the other two levels, the middle school and elementary school.
I don't feel like there is one outcome that's going to make everyone happy. So I hope that the superintendent, the board, and the consultant that was hired to create the map and maps will take all the community input on what was important to people.
So that meeting is tonight. We are obviously going to have a reporter there covering that. And really, we're going to be getting video of the raw reaction to these maps. So it should be very interesting, and we'll obviously have more on this tomorrow and in our later newscast today.
Yeah. So right now we're going to take a break. It's 9:08. Coming up at 9:10. After the break, hockey season is just around the corner. Tyvis Powell joins us to talk about trades, the season ahead, maybe a little bit of World Cup stuff. A great finish from Canada yesterday. So that's coming up in 2 minutes. Tyvis Powell here, 9/11 on
Tyvis.
your Monday.
How y'all doing?
Oh, living the dream.
Happy Monday.
Yes, how was
Aren't
your
y'all
weekend?
Just thrilled to be back at work.
I am. I'm
I
looking
missed
forward to the week.
I missed y'all. Everything about this building. I miss being on the air. I'm so excited.
You're facetious
Yeah.
today.
Well, it's a big thing coming up for me on Wednesday and Thursday. I gotta
What's going on?
I gotta sit in the main chair, like be the one on the show.
What?
Okay, so you know how it's me and T-Bone.
Yes.
So
Okay.
T-Bone always is the number one guy.
Okay, I
he's
thought you
the
were talking
main.
about this one.
No,
I was like, wait,
the radio
what?
show. He's like the main host all the time, and I'm always in the two chair. So I just feed. He throws the topics, boom, I feed off of him. We go back and forth. Well, T-Bone selfishly. He wants to get better, so he gonna go to New York and go to a conference where they teach him to get better on the radio.
Oh.
Selfish, and leave me here to be in the one chair, which I've never done before. So I got to do it for 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll see how it goes. I think about it at least 20 times a day.
Yeah, so, right. Sorry, I got distracted.
No, he's doing a lot over there.
Nobody feels my pain.
No, I think it's a good opportunity for you. I think you're
It's-
gonna have fun.
we're gonna find
if
out.
you need us to come stop by and I don't know, do some new
Wednesday
stuff,
and Thursday
we
will be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Before we get on to Blue
yeah.
Jackets, I want to ask, did you watch the ending of the World Cup game, South Africa and Canada?
I did not.
Oh, it
I
was
haven't
good.
been watching any of the
Didn't
World
it
Cup
go
either.
like extra time?
Yeah, so...
And like the last 2 minutes or something, Canada scored.
Right, so... Throughout like normal play, the 90 minutes,
Yeah,
it was
nothing.
0-0.
Yes.
Nothing. And then when they went into over, it was like, 2 minutes into that extra time, Canada took advantage of them kind of messing up. Canada had the ball, and by minute 98, Canada scored
Yes.
it, and was just like, we're done, which is great because it's the first time Canada's even made it this far.
Well, the fact that even happened, I didn't think Canada had an amazing soccer program or they were really that great.
Me
I
either.
guess.
They don't.
So it's pretty
That's
good.
the thing.
Everyone
is-
loves a Cinderella story.
Yeah, it is that.
Maybe that's them.
Well, some Canadians have no idea that they have a soccer team.
Oh, yikes.
But it is. It's this kind of marvelous Cinderella story of somehow Canada is playing
made it.
well.
Yeah, they're gonna make it to the next round.
And then Canada has an American coach. This is also
and he kissed this thing. He
yeah.
went like this, and everybody's mad at him because he's not Canadian.
Yeah, he's American.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just don't. It's not that deep to me. I get it. I get why people are mad about it, but it's not that deep. Like he was caught up in the moment.
Well, let's switch gears now to hockey because there's a bunch of Canadians that come down here to play in the NHL. So I guess it can go either way.
That's fair. I don't have an issue with the Canadians that go for Team USA and do what they do or play well, and like that's. Listen, in your moment when you are celebrating, people celebrate differently, and however you choose to do it is fine with me. I don't, as long as it's safe and not, antagonize.
Like I'm thinking about
else.
Boone Jenner. He's from Canada, right?
Yes.
He could have played for the Maple Leafs, but he decided to come to the. You know what I mean?
Well, he that's different. He got drafted and then traded
I
and
know.
all that. Like
Well,
that
let's
goes
talk
in
about
all
the
of
Blue
that.
Jackets and stuff and what's going on. They're trading some people.
Well,
About to?
We don't know. Okay, so what happened was it started with there was a lot of rumbling with Zach Werenski, and the people were saying like, oh, he's not going to want to stay there long term. He has 2 years left on his deal. They're like, he's not going to stay there. The Jackets should look to trade him. Zach never said anything like that, so people kind of dismissed it. And then Don Waddell comes on and says, I haven't talked to Zach, but I plan on talking to Zach, and if that's the case, then we have to do what's best for us, and that would be trading him. The draft happened last Friday. The Blue Jackets had the 14th pick. They selected Oscar Hemming, and right after that, boom, Kirill Marchenko pops up and says, I'm not re-signing with the Jackets after the season or next year. So now you got two of your best players that don't – well, Zach hasn't publicly said it, but it seems to be that you got two of your best players that don't want to be with the Blue Jackets. So now the Blue Jackets are faced with the decision of, do we trade them now? Because if you trade Zach, you're getting a lot back for Zach. And if you trade Kirill Marchenko, you're giving up one of your best scorers. Is it worth it, or do we play the seasons out, hopefully win, and maybe they have a change of heart? That's kind of the decision that the Blue Jackets are trying to weigh in on right now. It's a lot. It's a lot because it's like you've seen how good this team was last year. You get Bones to come back to be the coach. You think that if they just start off better than they did in previous seasons, it'll put them in position to at least be a playoff team. And to hear that your best two players want out, it's like, okay, so now we're going to scrap all that plan and just start from scratch and then have to get prospects and things like that. It's a long process. And Blue Jackets fans just want to win right now. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably not going to be the reality.
Because people are upset with how the season ended.
Yeah, well,
It ended bad.
and they should be, because they were playing hockey like among some of the best teams in there. Like they were beating them at a point in time, and then they just ran out of gas, and it just went downhill real fast. But the funny thing is they did it 2 years in a row. So, like, that's why it's kind of frustrating for Blue Jackets fans, because the year before they were in the playoffs and then they kind of tripped up at the end and just missed it, and the same thing happened this year. So, hopefully, if it was up to me, I'd just ride it out, because I believe that Bones is going to help put them in a better playoff position, help them make the playoffs. And if they're out of it, at least for Kirill Marchenko, trade deadline, if we're out of it, I trade them. But the Zach thing, I think I'm going to have to ride that one out, because that's a really good player, and, like, that's literally your best player.
I think Bonus, too, like, he's really good at – he's trying to really change the mentality of this team.
Yes.
And I think that's important. So I feel like if there's players that don't really want to be a part of that, then
but I feel like it's not the fact that they don't want to be here. They just want to win. They want to go a chance to compete for the Stanley Cup. But
they can't do that if they don't change their mentality, right?
I agree with you. But I don't know. I think for them, it's like we got to see it. Like they've been talking about
Yeah.
it for so many years, but they haven't lived it. Until they live it, they don't really think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tyvis, thank you, sir.
I appreciate
We're
y'all.
happy to have you back.
I'll see y'all
Alrighty.
Wednesday.
Coming up in 2 minutes, we are joined by the folks from the Doodah Parade. It is a great time of nonsensical madness, parody, and satire. A great way to celebrate America 250. We'll be back. Welcome back, 9:20 on your Monday here on The Big Picture. I'm Collin. She's Bryn. Right now, we are joined by Deb Roberts and Todd Greer with the Doodah Parade.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
This is one of Columbus's most beloved traditions. It's been going on for how many years now?
43.
34?
43, excuse
Oh,
me. Yeah.
43. Yes, that's such a long time. For those watching who may not be from Columbus, how would you simply explain what the Doodah Parade is? Take it away, Deb.
We're still figuring that out.
Great
It's
answer.
just crazy fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come down, put on some wild costumes, make a sign. You know, it's satire.
Right. It's all in the name of
Yeah.
liberty, though, right?
Right. So it's just freedom of speech through humor.
Right. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what kind of outfits do people do? They can get wild, right?
Yeah. I think this year we're going to have, I think there were about 28 guys in Speedos.
Oh, okay.
They were jogging through Confest, and I'm like, hey, you guys need to come to the parade. They said,
That's
what
so
should
funny.
we wear? And I said, what you're wearing now. I said, you could take lipstick and write a sign on your chest.
Oh my gosh.
So you don't have to carry anything. They're like,
Brave
we'll
men.
be there.
And I
That's
think
awesome.
the interesting part about the parade is that there's not really sign-ups. It is kind
Right.
of a, if you want to be a part
Just
of it, you
show
can.
up.
You just have to
Be
be
brave.
the part.
Be the part, yeah. It's on a lot of people's bucket list to be
Right.
there. So just come and do it. There's no registration. There's no fee.
Right.
And
So let's get in. Well, if people are interested, because we still have a couple days. This is on the 4th of July, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if people want to join in, show up, like where is the meeting point? What do they need to do?
Okay.
And kind of walk us through what the route is.
Well, if you're coming in via vehicle, you want to come in off of Goodale Boulevard.
Okay.
And come up Park Street, and it'll go out to Buttles Avenue. And then from there, it'll go Buttles Avenue, which is now Doodah Way, down to Denison, south on Denison, west on Collins, then north on Neal, east on 2nd Avenue, south on High Street, and it ends at Russell.
Okay. And do you advise like people that live in the neighborhood to put chairs out or anything like that?
That's
or
kind
just
of
people
funny,
kind
crazy.
Yeah.
That when I see people do that.
I
but
know.
It's like, it's your yard. Just go out there and sit in it.
And it's fairly well known. It has gotten national attention. We see, some cities have tried to copy the Doodah Parade.
Yeah.
I want to say it's somewhere Pacific Northwest also does one.
Yes, we copied them.
Oh, I was thinking it was the other way around.
No, they're a few years older. But you have to pay to be in that parade.
Yeah.
They throw tortillas.
Love that.
How long have you been a part of all this?
92,000 years, I think.
92,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's a long time.
Yeah.
What keeps you coming back each year?
The humor, the fun, people laughing, having a great time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you have any special memories from the parade?
So a couple of those. So probably the first was last year was our first year performing at the Doodah Parade after party, which is great because it features a lot of great local musicians. So fantastic. It's not just the parade itself. It's a day-long event for things to do. So for me, it was a delight to be asked. I still remember playing a show and Deb being out in the audience and saying, "How would you like to play Doodah?" And like, "We accept your offer."
Deb, I love you're like out recruiting people all year long. You're
Yes.
like, I love it. Come to the Doodah Parade.
Yeah.
And we
awesome.
were ecstatic, and so we were very, very honored to be able to be asked back and perform again. It's just so much fun, and as you were mentioning, what better year than to have something that's an expression of free speech and everything else like that than to have the entire day dedicated to that.
Yeah, I think that's important that everyone remembers that's what the point of all of it is.
Right. And
Behind
humor.
all,
And
right?
it's humorous.
Exactly. So, do you have a fun outfit planned, or are you wearing just a t-shirt? What are you doing? Are you allowed to give it away?
Yeah, I'll do the faux rock star thing. I'm
Yeah.
not, hey, it's probably going to be a tank top and a headband.
Okay.
It's hot out there.
It's going to be brutal this weekend.
No, it's going to be gorgeous on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
put
gonna
that
be
out.
It's perfect
fantastic.
parade
Yeah.
weather.
It's going to be
Yes.
there's going to be a breeze. It's going to be so nice.
Yes.
So tell us about your band.
So, I'm a singer-songwriter here in Columbus, Ohio. Formed the band in 2017. We have 5 albums out, the most recent of which is called Beautiful Melodies, Telling Me Terrible Things, which you can find on any streaming service. Real fortunate to play, when people ask, what do you sound like? Mashup Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, and a dash of Keith Richards, and it's all original music. We do play a couple select covers, and we play around the Central Ohio and Northeast Ohio areas quite a bit.
Okay, you're busy, booked and busy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, where
That's
are
a
you
good thing.
performing exactly?
So we'll be on the gazebo stage.
Ah,
Right
okay,
there.
right in Goodale
Right
Park.
in
Okay.
Goodale
Goodale Park.
They've been busy too this week. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean with Comfest and now this. This is like
Yeah.
the busiest time of year I feel like in Columbus.
Who is the not so grand marshal this year?
That is Walker and Annie Evans of ColumbusUnderground.com.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that is always
What
a
is that?
big deal.
What does that job entail?
Just a lot of waving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Selfies.
Angela Ann has been the not so
Yeah.
grand marshal.
She was fantastic.
Oh my
she
gosh,
did a
she would be-
cartwheel to start it out.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our girl Ange,
Yeah.
she's
Ange
the
was,
best.
and I think Angela Pace was one year.
Yes, she was.
Wow.
Colleen
The
Marshall
diva.
over at Channel 4 was
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
year.
Well, and Andrea Cameron was also.
Yeah.
Aw, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's something that I think a lot of people have on their list too,
Yes.
is like want to be a part of it because
Yeah.
it is a lot of fun.
It is.
And people come up with some very interesting ways to express their thoughts, their opinions.
It is fun for all
it's an
ages
awesome
too.
parade.
Right.
Like you don't have to be 18 plus to come to this.
Right.
Like there's something for everyone.
Is-
What is
By
this?
the way,
I
you
keep
have to try
staring
my
at it.
crown on because it goes so great with your outfit.
Please.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what is this for?
Well, you
Just
know,
to
every
wear?
unroyal crown
Is
is,
the
is
official
I wish I
needed.
could wear this every day.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
look fabulous.
Thank you.
Is the
You could be a
rules-
queen of the parade.
still existing that politicians can take part, but they have to wear a silly hat?
Yes, absolutely.
Who's
That I
taking,
think is
do you
why-
know who's taking part this year?
I'm hoping there's a lot of politicians
Yeah.
because there are quite a few that need to be out of office and in office.
You guys are so funny. I love
All
it.
right. So one more time, what time?
1 o'clock is the parade.
Yes.
Okay.
Music starts at 11 a.m. It goes to 7 p.m.
It's gonna be a party.
And it all kind
Wear
of
your
goes
wild
right
clothes.
around, right around the gazebo at Goodale Park.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right.
Through the
Thanks
short
so
Anything
much.
else you want people to know?
It's just super fun, a lot of laughing, and it's free.
And bring your crowns.
Bring your crowns.
Wear
Come
your
down early,
crowns.
Yeah.
stay late.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
thank you, everybody. So thank you. Everything. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
God bless you. My husband was in Vietnam.
I wasn't expecting anything like that.
What is it like to see all those faces and hear all those thank yous?
I really don't have words. I'm speechless over that.
It was just awesome. I never had that, you know, and it's just overwhelming for me. When I first came home, I had my uniform on, and I got spit on a couple of times.
Thank you. You're amazing.
This here's just awesome. I just can't believe it, you know. I mean, excuse me, because I'm choked up right now. All of our comrades and everything. Thank you, sir. Didn't make it back. You know, it's overwhelming.
How different is the welcome today?
I mean, we never had one, so it's wonderful.
I can tell it made you a little emotional stepping off that plane.
Very much.
And joining us right now, Stacia Nakin. Hello.
Hi, guys.
It's been a long time since you've been on. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you.
So that beautiful montage of video and sound that we just listened to, that was from your latest honor flight trip at the end of May.
Yeah.
How special was it being there for that return home and just with them throughout the whole day?
The day is so special, and I feel like, especially in this moment as we're preparing to celebrate America's 250th birthday, there was just something extra special about this trip because every one of these veterans is part of that story and part of preserving our freedoms to make it to America's 250th. And so that's why we titled our honor flight special America 250, Their Service, Our Freedom, because we just kept saying to ourselves, you know, we get to celebrate America's 250 because of these veterans. We get to go to work and play and have a wonderful celebration of our country and our country's birthday because of these veterans and their service.
All because of them. So
Yeah.
the special is live right now on
It is.
YouTube.
Mhm.
Kind of give us a rundown without giving too much away about what all it
Oh, my
covers.
goodness. So this, you know, it's so funny. This is my 5th honor flight that I've been on. And every single time, there are so many unique stories. Every veteran on the flight has a unique story and a unique perspective. And what we really heard from so many of the veterans on this flight is they were really kind of overwhelmed by the reception, as you just saw there, where these veterans are saying, you know, and many of them have served in Vietnam, and their reception when they came home before. I mean, you heard the gentleman there, Austin, and he was sharing how he was spit on in his uniform, and you can't even understand it. You can't comprehend it. And so a reception like this is so meaningful, but they also stop and think of the people they served alongside who didn't make it home. So even though there is some healing in the reception they're receiving now, they are still caught off guard, I think, not only with that moment, but also thinking of the veterans they served alongside and the sacrifices that were made to reach America's 250th.
Mm-hmm. It's a big deal, 250.
It is a big deal,
Really
and it's
is.
something we're celebrating.
Mhm.
And so it was really fun to celebrate alongside these veterans. And it's one of those things where I think you can hold both. You can hold that moment for the celebration that we're experiencing and also the seriousness of remembering how we got here and the people who aren't able to celebrate with us. I think you can hold space for both. And that's really what this special is about, is capturing that moment with these veterans where they are being celebrated and how special that is, but also allowing them to share the stories of the people they were remembering in that day as well.
Is there a story that sticks out to you? I know you said you've been on 5 honor flights now, which is a lot, but is
It
there one
is.
that really like sticks out and
Oh,
that you
man. Yeah, you
feel
know what?
especially connected to?
It's so fun because watching this video and I see the faces of these veterans. So technically we spent one day together, but since then I've spent a lot of time editing and looking at their interviews and finding their videos in the day from all the things that we filmed that day. So I feel like I've spent every single day with them. So there's not one veteran who stands out because I'm always blown away every single time when I speak to a veteran, and so many of them that we spoke to that day, they will tell you, they're so humble. They will say to you, I just did my job. I just did it. It wasn't a big deal, but it is. It was. And it's wonderful to be able to stand there and have a conversation with these veterans. And one of them, I'm thinking about Liz Harrell, and she's like, I really didn't do anything special. And she's a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. And I'm like, but you did. It was,
was really
special.
special.
But you did. And the very first honor flight I ever went on, I was a guardian for a woman named Martha McCullough, and she was a World War II phone operator in the Coast Guard. And we sat there at her memorial that day, and she said to me, she's like, I didn't really do anything special. I answered phones. And I'm like, but Martha, you answered phones so that the next woman could make the call, the next woman could be in the room. I mean, really broke down barriers and opened doors for women to serve in all of the ways now. And so standing there with these men and women and taking a minute to celebrate what they did when they are so humble and they don't feel like it was extraordinary, to be able to look them in the eye and say, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you did, because we get to live the way we live today. And I get emotional just thinking about it now because we have so many veterans in our community, and it's just awesome to be able to go on these trips with Honor Flight Columbus. Honor Flight does 10 flights like this a year, 5 in the spring, 5 in the fall, and to be there for any part of that day is just so special.
Absolutely.
And now, as unfortunately, many of the World War II veterans are no longer with us. And the focus has been on getting Korea and Vietnam vets out there. But now we're also working on the veterans from Desert Storm and a lot of the conflicts that we had in the 90s.
That's right.
Because now there are memorials for them as well. And then a lot of people, our military families, is that, maybe you served in Desert Storm, but your dad served or your mom or dad served in Korea or the Second World War. It is a legacy for a lot of people.
It's very true. And the only requirement with Honor Flight Columbus is that you have served and that you are 65 or older. And so you do have veterans now who fit that requirement and did serve in Desert Storm as well.
Right.
So I just think it's such a wonderful opportunity as a community to remind them that their service is special. It was special then, it's special now. And I think as a community coming together and being part of, because the big celebration at the end, you saw that's the arrival when they get to Washington, D.C. Everybody's ready for this big day. We're going to see the memorials. We're going to see the monuments. And we walk off the plane and there's this huge greeting, and none of the veterans are expecting that. And then at the end of the day, we have that when they come back home to Columbus, and all their family and all their friends and just the public will be there to greet them. That's emotional too. And so we have this wonderful bookend there where we get to see these veterans being celebrated, and we can't say it enough. I always say today ends in a Y. It's a great day to thank a veteran, and that's really what this is. It's not about America's 250th birthday. It's not, because today's Monday. Let's celebrate our veterans. I think that's really the vibe that we really need to walk into the world and our communities with. But I think especially with America's 250th birthday, that's a wonderful reason to celebrate them even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Stacia, thank you so much. And again, that special streaming on YouTube right
now. Yes.
Coming up next, 10 Investigates Rochelle Aline joins us to talk about a really tragic case, but it's also now brought a call to hold child care providers accountable and maybe the gaps that still exist. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Picture 942 on your Monday. We are joined right now by Rochelle Aline with 10 Investigates. Rochelle, thanks so much for stopping by. This story, one, heartbreaking, but it is a tragedy that all surrounds the death of a very young boy to a Delaware County family. Talk to us a little about how we got to today.
Yeah. So this is a story that I kind of happened upon, ended up being introduced to the family. And the question that they posed to me is, if you take your child to daycare and something happens to them, should it be tracked? Now, when you hear that question, your answer is like, aren't they all tracked?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see in the story, in Ohio, technically not. And just by virtue of talking to them and learning about their story and the tragic loss of their son, he was 6 months old. His name was Smith. We learned that there are some gaps in state law when it comes to tracking injuries and deaths in daycares in Ohio for children, which was stunning to me and obviously devastating for them.
Right. Let's get a look at the first part of this story, because this is a two-parter.
That's right.
So we'll take a look at this, and then we'll be right back in just a second.
Yeah.
Smith Slater may have been born ready to rock.
He had the coolest mohawk. He was born with a mohawk.
But his parents say he was more likely to go with the flow.
He always was smiling and just such an easy baby.
At just 4 months old, he was too young to go to his sister's daycare. But they say teachers there referred them to a woman who watched many of their babies at her Delaware County home.
We thought we found a diamond in the rough.
Smith's first day was in July of 2025, and the Slatkoffs say everything was going great until Kelly got a call from the woman watching him in early September.
And she was just frantic. It was hard to even really understand what had happened. She just said, he's going to the hospital. I think it was his first scan showed he had a significant brain injury.
He was declared brain dead about 12 hours later. According to the Slatkoffs, a medical examiner listed his death as undetermined.
I'm sure you're probably asking, well, what happened? Did you ever get that answer?
She had put him in the basement where the toddlers slept, and their pack and plays had blankets and pillows. And unfortunately, I think how she would have sat him in there made it easy for him to roll to his side and not easy to roll back.
The Slatkoffs say they don't know how long Smith was down there.
We found out that there were no monitors down there. We were under the impression that she used monitors, and she had shown us when we met her the first time.
According to them, the woman watching him guessed it was about an hour and a half, but doctors told them it was likely much longer. This case was then handed over to Child Protective Services in Delaware County.
They let us know, I think it was in October, that she was found with a substantiated charge of child neglect. And what our concern was, well, what does that mean?
We're not saying the woman's name because at this point, she hasn't been charged with a crime. The Slatkoffs say that was their first shock. And the second shock? That came when they realized that other parents looking to vet future daycares for their kids by searching state records would never see this case because the woman wasn't licensed.
Because she's unlicensed, they can't prevent her from continuing to watch children. And really that substantiated charge only is shown through a school or a legitimate daycare facility's search.
And technically, she's not breaking the law. When it comes to licensing, Ohio law does allow people to offer childcare in their homes without a license. To learn more about why the law allows this, I sat down with an expert. I'll have her answer tonight on 10 TV. For now, reporting for 10 TV, I'm Rochelle Aline.
Oh, Rochelle, so many questions still with all of that. It's so upsetting. And I want to talk about how there's just been no charges pressed yet. It's up to the prosecutor's office, you said.
Correct.
And right now, they're not saying anything? Kind of crickets?
We haven't gotten any confirmation or indication that she will be charged at any point in the future. So even though you saw that Child Protective Services got involved and she was found negligent, it would require the prosecutor to then follow through, file charges, and kind of move that into a possible criminal case.
Yeah.
We don't
And
know
I'm sure
if that's going to happen.
you've reached out. Have they commented or anything?
No, we don't have any answers.
Okay.
And obviously, there's still a lot of the law as stands right now provides for a lot of gaps.
Correct.
And a lot of, loopholes and gray areas of this is how things like this can happen.
Correct.
Is there any work that's being done to change that?
I asked the state that. And I was like, give me a history lesson. So I reached out to the state Department of Children just to understand. And what they explained is that they're called family child care centers. These are the daycares that people watch their kids in their home. This goes back to the 80s when they created this in Ohio. It allows for people to not need a license, but be able to watch 6 or less kids, right? These could be a combination of, let's say you have 3 small kids and you watch your neighbor's 2 kids. When I first heard about the story, I was saying, why would anybody not be licensed? But in that case, do you think it's necessary for a neighborhood mom who happens to watch her neighbor's kids? Do you think she needs to go through the whole process of getting a license and following all the requirements that a regular daycare would?
Just to watch your friend's kids.
Correct. On the flip side, it leads to this gray area.
Right.
So we're in this weird place of like, I get why you wouldn't make that person get a license, but in this case, maybe they should.
Right.
And how do you distinguish? And to be honest, I'm not an expert. I don't know.
Right. That is because
it's a tough decision.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, because you've got that situation exactly there where it's like, yeah, I'm just going to watch my neighbor's kids as well. But then you have people turning it into a business and operating under this narrow exclusion here.
And so that is at the center of the story is there a way for lawmakers to distinguish? Is there a criteria they can set to separate somebody who's running it as a business as opposed to maybe somebody in the neighborhood who's just doing their neighbor a favor?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Have you spoken to any state lawmakers about
any
any of this?
We're working to reach out.
Okay.
Yeah. We heard that there is one that is interested in kind of answering that question.
Okay.
I won't say her name yet.
Yeah.
But she is looking into it. But we are working to see if we can get those questions answered.
Okay.
But I think it's important to note, I think, again, people will watch the story and be like, what in the world? We sat down with an expert who broke down, one, it's very much legal to do this, to operate this kind of facility unlicensed, and also breaking down like the why behind it, and again, why it's difficult to police these unlicensed daycares.
Okay, and that's coming up tonight.
Yes.
On 10 TV News.
That's right.
Alrighty, Rochelle, thank you so much. Always wonderful work from you. We appreciate it.
Coming up next, we are talking about not only our weather, but also some weather nationwide, from flooding to wildfires. We're getting it all right now. Meteorologist Justin Gertz joins us in 2 minutes.
Picture 9:51 on your Monday morning. It was a wild weekend for weather. Justin Gertz is here with us this morning. Thank you for coming on. I want to start with what's going on the West Coast in Colorado. Massive wildfires over the weekend. I mean, Sunday, Utah-Colorado border, it had grown 28 20,000 acres. It's now called the Snyder Fighter, and basically they're working to put it out right now. And as of Sunday morning, an estimated, over 28,000 acres are just burning, and just really no sign of containment as of today.
Yeah,
so
a lot of
look at those images.
A lot of their issue was the lack of snowfall this wintertime, which isn't necessarily a guarantee of a bad wildfire season, but it doesn't help, and we're starting to see some of the effects of that dry weather as things are catching on fire, and it's hard to put them out because there's just so much dry fuel out there.
Right, it's just hot and dry. Well, then in Kentucky, our neighbors, deadly flooding. I was shocked by the videos that we were seeing this morning. I mean, churches just ripped off their foundations, crumbled up. I mean, homes destroyed. Over 30 homes in just one area were destroyed. 4 people at least have died. And this morning, the Kentucky governor, Andy Beshear, he was just saying how it's still a very active, dangerous situation. There's so much water everywhere, covering roadways, bridges. Do not drive through that like that. Well, we don't know how that got there, but you're advised to turn around and don't drown. But it's just a lot of flooding. I mean, it came down really fast. I think they got 12 inches in a matter of hours.
Yeah, that flash flooding just happens so quickly. I mean, that's where the flash flooding comes from. It happens in a flash. It rises quickly, and in a lot of cases will go back down quickly. But there are some areas that when you get into the larger rivers, that takes more time to come up and come back down. And just some absolutely torrential rain. And that was kind of on the edge of the heat dome that's developing. Ton of moisture in place, but a lot of energy around the edge of that where the storms just kind of keep going over and over. And now that heat dome is building, and that's what we're facing over the coming
I wanted to ask you, because all of this was in Richmond, which is like 30 miles outside of Lexington, like southwest. The rain we got this weekend and like the sticky humidity we're feeling right now, is that all kind of in the same system, or is this something new?
All kind of related, so that we have the jet stream, which is a river of air way above our heads, and that helps kind of steer weather systems, and it also is a dividing line between heat on the south side and cooler temperatures on the north side. And that jet stream is shoving way north, and what we're going to be looking at is basically sitting underneath this ridge of heat, and we're kind of moving into the edge of it today and yesterday. Once we get toward the middle of the week, we are in the middle of it, like the core of it. And those are going to be our warmest days, probably Wednesday and Thursday. We're talking mid to maybe upper 90s around the area. There you see, 97, 98.
Wow.
And of course, we deal with heat every summer. I don't want to dismiss that, yes, it gets hot and humid. Of course it does. This kind of heat we do not get every summer. So I know that, there's sometimes the attitude of, it's summertime. Yes, and this is pretty unusual. In fact, one of the stats I'm going to look up later on this morning is our runs of a high of both at least 95 and a low of at least 75. Yeah. Because it's one thing if you get 1 or 2 days of heat and humidity, because we can deal with that. But when you have it day after day after day after day, that's hard on the body. You do not get a chance to get relief from that, and especially if you don't have air conditioning. I mean, nighttime doesn't give you anything.
Right.
So the compounding effects on the body just add up, and by the end of the week, our bodies are going to have a lot of stress on them, more than we would any typical summertime heat.
Right. And then, obviously the humidity then adds another layer of complexity, because you get the sciencey thing of the wet bulb temperature. I mean, the whole reason that we sweat is to cool us down, but then we get into, you add this extra layer of humidity, and then your sweat isn't evaporating, and so that bodily function just doesn't do its job.
Exactly. We take sweat for granted just as a normal routine thing because we do it all the time. But when you don't feel the sweat, that's your body, like you say, doing what it's supposed to be doing, cooling you off. And to give you a sense of how evaporation cools you off, think about when you get out of the shower, you feel cool. That's exactly what's supposed to happen with your body sweating. But when you feel the sweat, as you mentioned, that evaporation ain't taking place.
Yeah.
That's your warning sign that, hey, my body is not doing the thing it is supposed to be doing to keep its temperature regulated. As a result, that's when you should be paying attention. Okay, am I doing the things that are going to help keep me cool? And I know there's the dumb tips of, stay inside and stay in the shade and drink water. I know those are routine, but we say that because they're the things that you need to do. We can't dismiss them out, just out of hand because they're like, duh, of course that's what we should do. Yeah. We want to remind people of that this week because they are going to be so much more crucial than they would be in a one-day warmth. Right. Not to say that we shouldn't do those when it's 95 degrees on one day, but when it's 5 days, it's especially important.
And let's talk about the importance of car safety and children, because I have a black inside of my car. It gets so hot. I can't even imagine how hot it will be when it's 95 degrees out.
So there's a certified consulting meteorologist. His name is Jan Knoll, and he keeps track of pediatric heat deaths when it comes to vehicles. And the first thing I want to say is, I know it seems unimaginable, but if you say, I could never do that, you're putting yourself more at risk because you don't believe you could, and anybody could do it. I know that like there's the warnings on the car saying, you know, check the back seat, or sometimes we remind people like put something in the back to remind yourself if there's a kid back there. And again, it seems like, oh my gosh, like how could you do that? Little story that I like to tell, not related to a kid, but there was a time that I was driving my wife to work because she had to ride with me because her car was in the shop, and we're talking and whatever, and I drive past to work, and she says, "You gonna drop me off?" And it's like, if I can forget that I have to drop off the person who is in the front seat next to me that I'm talking to, it's completely believable that I would forget about a kid who's quiet in the back seat, especially if it's not my routine. Like that happens. The brain looks for shortcuts. It looks for ways to not have to think about everything all the time. And most of the time, that's a great thing. We can actually function as human beings. But there are situations that is a very bad thing. So just keep in mind that it can happen to anyone. Since 1998, over 1,000 kids have died in hot cars. Half of them are being forgotten back there. A quarter they've gotten in themselves and have gotten trapped in there, and a quarter are intentional. So 3/4 of the time, it is just a pure horrifying accident. And so just
be vigilant.
Exactly. Give yourself the respect that you need to understand that you can forget, and just be extra sure in these cases.
Absolutely. And we do know there's cooling shelters that are opening as well. Here's the locations: Dodge Community Center, Driving Park Community Center, Glenwood Community Center, Linden Community Center, and then the Marion Franklin Community Center.
Yeah, those are actually not even opening until later this week. They'll open, I think, Thursday.
Right. Because, I mean, it's just going to get hotter as the week continues.
The pools are operating at longer hours as well. Keep that in mind. The libraries are always great cooling centers.
Right.
You can hop on a Coda bus as well. They're air conditioned. So,
all right, guys,
that is
that's
the time. So we will see
you tomorrow.
tomorrow.